Indobarometers, one of the Indonesia survey agency, had released its survey data about the people's satisfactions on President Joko Widodo and his cabinet performance. In such survey, it has been mapped that according to respondents, Indonesia still have major problems to be solved. To know it better, let's take a look on the first graphic. Through the graphic, which immediately will show up, this is Indonesia's most important issues that need to be solved. We have a 4 category here. So let's take a look at the corruptions cases. So as many as 14% of the respondents through the 2015, this is the first period of President Jokowi, as much as 14% of the respondents say that corruption is the huge issue and needs to be solved. While in 2020, which is the second period, as many as 7.8% of the respondents say that the corruptions is the issue that needs to be solved. But then jump into the people's economy, which grabbed a lot of attentions. As we can see that in the first period, which is in 2015, as many as 21.6% of respondents say that the people's economy is the issue that needs to be solved immediately. While in second period, which is 2020, the respondents as much as 32.1% stated that people's economy is the most important issues that needs to be solved, rather than its job stability, price of staple foods, and also the corruptions. And as it is known, Indonesia's economic growth experiencing slowdown in 2019, which only reached 5.02%, lower than 2018 economic growth, which reached 5.17%. People's economy as a huge part of domestic consumptions always become a backbone to Indonesia's economic growth. But at the same time, Indonesia still have a huge homework about it. So based on the World Bank's analytics, current social protections program form a solid base on which Indonesia can build a system that addresses the risks and challenges that the future is likely to bring. This program would need to evolve and adapt the emergency to the emerging demographic, technological, and environmental trends. By implementing the correct social program, people welfare can happen equally. That will boost the people's purchasing power. Which commodities actually contribute to the staple food price volatility in Indonesia? So let's see the data. Here we got the staple food with the highest price hike in 2018. First of all, we can see rice in here. In 2018, rice price has a price hike of 3.2% in 2018. So we jump up into the chicken eggs. 4.2% has a price hike in the 2018. While in the third positions we got fish with the price hike in 2018 that reached 4.8%, and jump into the second positions, which is chicken meat, with 10.4% of price hike in 2018. And the first place goes with chili in 2018. As many as 10.8% price hike happened in the chili in 2018. Food and agricultural expert Bayu Krishnamurti shared that the sentiment that seasonal staple food price rises were a constant issue in the country. However, he said that the government should not neglect the welfare of the farmers in its efforts to maintain staple food prices, whom he said that receive a lower daily income of 53,000 rupiah or only $3.77 compared to the 86,700 rupiah earned by the freelance construction workers. Bayu argued that the boosting farmers' productivity could maintain the price of staple foods as they would not solely rely on their harvest to earn money, resulting in a stable farm gate price. He added farmers could double their harvest and add a value to their products by adopting technology, mentioning the system of rice intensifications as example, referring to a low-water, labor-intensive method that uses younger seedlings single-spaced and typically hand-weeded with special tools. But how about the dynamics of open unemployment rate in Indonesia? So let's see the data. Here it is, open unemployment in Indonesia. So we got two indicators here. The yellow indicates in August, and while the red indicates the February. So let's take a look at 2017. By August and February, it's still the same. By 7 million people are unemployed during this time. But let's take a look at 2019. We can see the disparity in here. While in February 2019, there were 6.8 million people go unemployed at this time. And the number get higher as in August 2019, as many as 7.1 million people in Indonesia were unemployed. Adapting to the Industry 4.0 era, many more jobs will be created in 2030 than are lost in automations. But in order to reach that point, Indonesians will need to learn new skills, according to a new report. Automations and the Future of Work in Indonesia, released on Wednesday by Management Konsultasi, McKinsey and Company, projects that 23 million jobs could be replaced by the automations by 2030. But 27 million to 46 million new jobs could be created at the same period. That would create up to 23 million more jobs created than are lost to the automations, and 10 million of these jobs would be a new type of occupations. The study suggested that the occupations like legal support, machine operators, payroll officers, and transaction processors will likely to victim the automations. But how many mayor and regents involved in the corruptions case in the past year? So let's see the data. Here it is when we are talking about corruptions case that hit the mayors and regents. So as we can see, in 2015 there were only 4 corruptions cases that hit mayors and regents. But if we can see the trends from 2015 jump into 2018, as many as 30 cases of corruptions happens to mayors and regents. So as we can see through the trend is inclining. The National Anti-Graft Agency, or KPK, has reminded President Joko Widodo administrations that corruption remains the main obstacle to investment in Indonesia. Obstacles to investment in Indonesia are: first, corruptions; second, bureaucratic inefficiency; then a lack of access of finance, inadequate and infrastructure, legal uncertainty, government instability, tax ratio, and so on. Corruption's eradication is to improve the quality of democracy while at the same time improving the business climate. Corruption still becoming Indonesia's main problem, according to Indobarometer survey respondents. And here it is, the most corrupted sectors in Indonesia. As we can see, in the health sectors, as many as 21 cases happens in 2019. And moving on to the transportation sectors, as many as 32 cases in 2019 get corrupted in here. And while for the third place we got education, which is the most noble sectors among all, but the most corrupted sectors as well. As we can see, 53 cases of corruptions happens in the sectors. And the second place goes to the government, which is happened for 57 corruptions cases in this sector, and the first one goes to village funds. As many as 96 corruptions cases happened in 2019. The Indonesian Corruption Watch, or ICW, recorded at least 15 methods of corruptions in the government's of village fund program. ICW say that the methods were discovered from hundreds of corruptions cases investigated by the legal apparatus. Out of hundreds of existing cases, we have found 15 methods of corruptions practices, and say that ICW Legal Division's coordinator, Tama S. Langkun, Tama mentioned one of the methods was fictitious projects, which was carried out by proposing a rational budget for a non-existing project. He explained that there was a surge in corruption cases related to village fund in the past few years. And throughout 2016 to 2017, 110 village heads were arrested for such crimes, whereas in 2018 alone, 102 suspects were arrested. And hopefully, government can easily finish its major homeworks in the near future. So stay tuned and market headlines.